Hey, we're here at the Taylor booth, and we're honored to be talking to Claudio Sanchez, and he is the founder and guitarist and a lot of other things for Coheed Cambria. Welcome, Claudio.
Hi, thank you.
He's going to do a set later on, and so we're fortunate to catch him here. But a lot of things going on for you in the spring of 2011. You're going on tour, I think, first to Australia and then another tour in April. Is that right?
Yes, sir. We're going to do a 10-year anniversary tour of the band. We're going to play the first record in its entirety. It's basically an evening with the band where it's just a night of Coheed, pretty much.
So you're opening with like an acoustic set.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And then the whole album in its entirety of Second Stage Turbine.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And then and then we'll probably do a nice collection of tunes in the encore. But yeah, that's about it.
Is that difficult to bring some of the things that were created in the studio to the live platform?
No, not really. I mean, it's something we do often, actually. Well, certainly with the Never Ender title. That's actually what the tour is called, Never Ender SSTB. And a few years ago, we did the concept tour after that name, where we did 4 nights, 4 albums. At the time, the full discography of the band, basically trying to incorporate some of the elements of the concept within some of the visuals that played behind us. Though they weren't literally off the page, they were symbols and things like that that represented some of the things that happened within the concept. So, I mean, we try to give it our best effort when it comes to things like that. You know, when we do these conceptual tours that have the concept and are the albums, and we try to put it all in there. So.
Now, speaking of concepts and conceptualization, you're of course a comic book artist and now a novelist. Yes. So I'm wondering, do you write songs like normal people, normal mortals, or do you get a cinematic vision? How is the creative process different for you?
Well, really, most of these songs come from a very real place. I mean, when I created the concept of Coheed Cambria 10 years ago, I had a hard time confessing myself in lyrics. And so because I had this love for science fiction and fantasy, I thought, well, this could be a great curtain for me, essentially to hide my story behind. So everything is very relevant to my life. I mean, it's just, I just kind of decorated a little bit so it leans a little more towards the fiction. But all of them, they start from someplace very real, and they mean a lot to me, and I just kind of transform them into something else, so they're a little bit more wild, so.
Now, you've been a Taylor user for quite a long time now. Can you tell us what brought you originally to Taylor guitars?
Yeah, well, actually, back when, before the band, turned professional, Travis actually received a Taylor guitar as a gift. And at the time, working our jobs, just I couldn't afford a whole lot, and when he got it, we were all very much into the guitar, and so when it became an option to move to Taylor, to endorse the product, I mean, we were very, very stoked and very honored to do so, because I think they make really great stuff, for sure. But that was my first relationship with the Taylor was, going over to Travis's house, and pulling it aside when he wasn't looking.
So, can you give us a rundown on what you're using? A couple different Taylors. You use a Barry or something, or?
Yes, I've been fooling around with the baritone. It's just something I'm kind of playing around with. But mostly right now, it's a lot of the big body guitars, the jumbos. But I've been very much into the grand concerts, the smaller body types. So I've been fooling around with those a little bit, and I find I like them a lot more. It kind of reminds me of, when I first started playing, like 3/4 scale kind of guitars, smaller, and as opposed to the bigger guys. It also, for me, they resonate a lot more when I'm doing the finger picking, because usually when we do the Coheed stuff acoustic, it's a lot more finger picking than it is strumming, and I just think it translates well, like in the smaller body. So yeah, so I've been using a lot of those of recent.
Is your acoustic treatments, do you have to scale them down from like the big fantasy, the big kind of anthemic treatments?
Sometimes. I mean, but some of these songs are a good majority of them are actually written on acoustic first. But like, say a song like Here We Are Juggernaut from the new album, I wrote, I programmed a synthesizer, a modular synth, and wrote around that. So, it was really about trying to find a new arrangement, and it's fun, to try to figure out a way to make it work in this world, and it does actually really well. So it's just about trying to find like a way to just kind of transform it, you know. And I think you could do it with anything. You just gotta find it. You know.
You mentioned that you had like formed a keyboard riff and then worked on, or a synthesizer riff off that. Do you write equally well on keyboards or theremin, or is it pretty much everything start with a guitar?
Pretty, you know, I'm a guitar player. I mean, I love creating landscapes and sound, you know, with noise and effects and things like that. Just kind of creating an atmosphere and trying to write in that atmosphere. I mean, that can change your mood. You know, playing against something like that. It's just an option. You know, it's there. Should I want to, you know, try a different approach, really? Yeah.
I'm just so curious. I have to ask, are you using like a DAW? Do you use Ableton Live or Pro Tools or Logic?
Yeah. I use Ableton Live, Propeller Head Reason, and Record I've been messing with a little bit, but I use Pro Tools pretty much as, you know, my main recording interface. And but yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
So then you're probably designing patches in Reason like the classic way with classic sound.
Yeah, true. But I also have a few analog modulars that I'll do, you know, a couple of analog solutions, like little, you know, little modulars that I'll do the you know, patching and things like that. You know, so
right.
To oscillators and stuff. I'm sorry.
Sure. And one question, and then I promise I'll let you go. How about your effects pedals? Like if you're gonna, you know, take a simplified rig on stage, like what would you use in a pedal board?
You know, I like a lot of noise effects. I have a few, I have a few odd ones, you know, like Dwarfcraft Devices and Death by Audio, guys that oscillate and just make tons of monstrous sounds. But I also really like, I take out, is an old MXR analog delay, Green Monster. You know, it's really nice to warp those effects and things like that. Just a lot of noise. I like noise, you know. I mean, you know, the guitars and the amplifiers can really do their thing. You know, the rest is all about just busting up that signal and making it disgusting. So,
disgusting in a good way.
Yeah, in a very good way. Yeah, for me anyway. I love that.
My final question is, it's an open-ended question, answer it as you like, but how do you make better music, Claudio Sanchez?
How do I make better music? I don't know. Again, I think it just, you know, going back to the earlier question, just writing about real things. I mean, again, for me, I mean, my being introverted and shy, that's what created the concept, but, you know, all of that stuff is very real, and you know, I was working on a new tune the other day, and it's about 6.5 minutes. It takes me through this journey, and there's this moment that happens in the middle, and it always kind of makes me tear up, you know. And it's just because it's so real, and it reflects who I am, and it hits me there, you know. Even though it's this like epic, you know, to someone else, a 6.5 minute song makes, you know, it's just a little maybe overindulgent or something, but to me, it's like the progression and what is being sung is so there and so heartfelt that it you know, makes me cry. It's weird, you know. So the fact that, you know, it starts from a very real place, I think that's what makes it better, because that's really good storytelling comes from very, you know, real places, whether it's fiction or not.
Well, thank you, Claudio, for your time. Great to see you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.